At 60, I signed up to swim 1.2 miles, bike 56 miles, and run 13.1 miles all in one day. That's a half Ironman. But this video is not just about triathlon, so if you're not into that, please don't click away. This video is about getting older. Realizing things you used to be able to do without thinking twice are now a lot harder physically. You start wondering if the things you used to love are just behind you now. I didn't sign up for a half Ironman because I wanted to prove that I was still young. I signed up because I wanted to remind myself that I am still here. I am still growing and I am still capable of doing hard things. As we get older, it can be so easy to assume that our biggest adventures or our biggest opportunities, they're all behind us. I want to keep asking, what is still possible for me? And that's what this race became, a chance to find out. Triathlon has been a big part of my life for about 10 years. I joined a women's triathlon club called Colorado Wild Women. I thought I was joining a training club, but what I found was community. There were women of all ages, all shapes and sizes, all abilities. Some were really fast, others were pretty slow. But it was such a safe space. Everyone encouraged and cheered each other on. It was pretty amazing. I did several sprint and Olympic distance triathlons, all with my friends. And then in 2021, I completed a half Ironman in Arizona. It was all just amazing, so much fun. I loved the training, I loved the companionship, I loved the bike rides and the open water swimming. I loved the feeling of working towards something big. But more than that, I loved feeling strong and engaged and in control of my life, my body. But then life changed. In 2022, my body started acting its age. I had back issues, shoulder pain, a lot of stress that was really impacting my health. For months, I stopped swimming, I stopped biking and running. Then the months turned into years. I really thought, well, maybe the triathlon chapter of my life is just over. But last year, I decided to do some strength training to help my back. And it did help. Not overnight, not magically, but slowly I started to feel stronger and I didn't hurt as much. Then I began working with a swim coach. Swimming had made my shoulder hurt to the point that I really couldn't enjoy swimming anymore. But as I improved my technique, I realized I could swim without pain. And I could swim hard and I could swim a lot. I fell in love with swimming again. And that was a turning point. Strength training had given me this foundation, and swimming showed that I might be able to get back to something I had lost. I started thinking about things I loved, the bike rides, the training, the feeling of working toward a big goal. But I also knew I could not just hop on the bike and lace up my running shoes and expect my body to be ready for a long race. I knew it would take work. I would need to rebuild my biking legs, my running legs, my core. Could I really do a half Ironman again at 60? Well, the only way to find out was to commit. I had to sign up for that race, pay the money, get a date on the calendar, and tell my friends and family for accountability. If I told people, I knew I would need a pretty good excuse to back out when things got hard, especially after paying that outrageous registration fee. So I signed up. I started rebuilding. I got a coach. I went to physical therapy. I got a bike fit so I could ride 3 or 4 hours without wrecking my back. I worked on building the right strength and endurance to handle those long rides and long runs safely at 60. I didn't want to hurt my body. I wasn't trying to force my old self back into existence. I was trying to create a way forward that worked for the body I have now. I didn't come back pretending I was 40 or even 50. I came back by listening to my body, getting help, and being willing to do things differently. At this age, I've learned that you cannot cheat the process and get away with it. There was another part of coming back, though, that had really nothing to do with my back or my shoulder. It was confidence, or my lack of confidence. Colorado Wild Women had disbanded, so I joined a different triathlon club. This club had fewer beginners and more seasoned and strong athletes, many of whom had regularly completed like half or full Ironman races. Everyone was welcoming and kind and super supportive, but I still felt intimidated. I had very low confidence in my abilities. On group rides, I worried that I would hold people back because I was one of the slower riders. It's not that I was embarrassed to be slow. I really wasn't. I just didn't want to inconvenience anyone else or be a burden. Let me say, I know the group never saw me as an inconvenience or a burden. Triathletes aren't that way, but I saw myself that way. Sometimes I stayed home and trained alone instead of reaching out to join the group. And let me tell you, training alone is so much harder and is not nearly as much fun as training with other people. That's all been a lesson for me. I'm not always going to feel confident, but you show up anyway. It might be scary and uncomfortable, but you accept the invitation. You ride at your own pace and you ask for help. Let people be kind to you. Okay, back to the race. Half Ironman races have strict cutoff times. The officials will actually pull you from the course if you're not making enough progress in the given time. I wasn't sure I could finish the race in the designated times, especially the bike split. So before the race, I thought about what I would consider success. If I completed training, that was success. That was a big win. In fact, that is probably the hardest part, to train consistently for 6 months. And the fitness gains, well, they'd be huge. So yes, completing training would be a big win. Showing up on race day. I knew I was going to be nervous and scared. So showing up at that start line with those young and strong athletes, that would be a win. That would prove I can do scary things. If I didn't finish the race in time, I decided that's okay. So how did it go? Well, as expected, on race day, I had lots of nerves, but also a lot of excitement and good energy. I felt fairly confident going into the swim. It was choppy and a little chaotic, but I had practiced a lot in those conditions, and thankfully it paid off. I was able to come out of the water and finish that swim within the designated time. But next, on to the bicycle. The bike course was hilly. And over the past few years, I've become a granny going downhill on a bike, scared to go fast, riding my brakes while everyone else was just flying past me. So I knew that that wouldn't get me the time I needed. So over the past few months, I'd really practiced going fast downhill, not by pretending I was fearless, not by bombing down those hills without thinking, but I practiced getting a little more comfortable with speed every time I rode, just a little faster each time. And on race day, I mustered all my courage and just granny bombed those hills. I think I hit 33.4 miles an hour, which is slow for some, but for me, it's just lightning fast. So yes, I made the cutoff for the bike with about an hour to spare, so I was pretty happy. And that was not just about a good bike time for me. It reminded me that fear does not have to control us. We can meet it head on. We can practice with it and slowly take back some of the joy that fear has stolen from us over the years. Anyway, then came the run, or the run walk for me. I've never been a great runner, and I had planned to use run walk intervals during the race, which lots of folks do. The course was 2 loops, each about 6.5 miles. It was a hot day. My hamstrings and calves were cramping after being on the bike for 3.5 hours. I was probably a little dehydrated, but somehow I got my legs working and hobbled through that first loop of the run, just one run-walk interval at a time. But I was not sure I could do that loop the second time, or that I wanted to do the second loop. I wanted to say, I've done enough. I'm good. I was tired. I was hurting. My feet were on fire. But then I saw my friend there who was there to cheer me on. She had done full distance Ironman races, so she got it. She could tell I was hurting and probably contemplating quitting. She said just what I needed to hear. Just keep moving forward. That's what endurance races are about. It's often not about great speed, at least not for a lot of us. It's about not stopping. You don't stop because you're tired or hurting. You keep moving forward, 1 mile, one aid station, one step at a time. Isn't that a lot like where we are in life as older adults? We've already done so much. We've built careers, we've maybe raised children, cared for loved ones, lost loved ones, had successes, but also failures and disappointments. I think it can be tempting to say at our age, I've done enough, but maybe there's still another loop to run. Maybe there's still more life to live. So I pushed through. I finished the race and in time. I even, surprisingly, placed fourth in my age group, which I thought was pretty darn funny, considering how slow I was. But the bigger win was proving to myself that I could come back. So what's your challenge, your half Ironman? I'm guessing it doesn't involve a wetsuit or a bike or running shoes. Maybe your race or your challenge is rehabbing that injury that has you sidelined. Maybe it's traveling somewhere you've always wanted to go but been a little nervous about. Maybe it's leaving a job that no longer fits. Maybe it's starting a YouTube channel. Or maybe it's just getting outside and walking around the block again. The point is, you don't have to do what I did, complete a half Ironman. I mean, unless you really want to. The point is to choose something that reminds you that you are still becoming. You don't have to be who you were 10 years ago, but you also don't have to believe that your best days are behind you. I did a half Ironman at 60 because I wanted to be able to look at myself and say, I am not done. I am still here. I am still capable of hard and scary things, and I am still allowed to create a future that excites me. Let me know in the comments what challenge you've been putting off because you thought you were too old or not ready enough. And if you're someone who wants to keep growing, keep trying new things, and create your best next chapter, I'd love for you to subscribe and join me here at Third Act by Design. I want this to be a safe space where we can encourage each other to keep moving forward, whatever that looks like. This is Deb with Third Act by Design, learning from the past, creating the best future yet.